You know, we've all heard the first line of the Gettysburg Address, 7 years ago, but what if I told you that in those 2 short minutes, Abraham Lincoln didn't just give a speech, he basically refounded America. This wasn't just a dedication, it was a revolution in 272 words. And to really unpack how he pulled this off, we're diving into the brilliant analysis of historian Heather Cox Richardson. Her work is the foundation for everything we're about to explore. So first, to get why the speech was so powerful, you have to picture the place. In July of 1863, Gettysburg wasn't a historical park. It was an absolute horror show. For 3 straight days, it was the site of one of the bloodiest battles of the Civil War. Imagine this. When the armies finally left, they left behind 7,000 bodies, just rotting in the summer sun. And the town only had about 2,500 people living there. They were outnumbered by the dead almost 3 to 1. It was a nightmare. They were burying bodies in shallow, makeshift graves everywhere.
It's right in the middle of all this chaos and grief that a local lawyer, a guy named David Wills, comes up with an idea. He says we can't just leave them like this. We need a proper national cemetery, a place to give these Union soldiers the honor they deserve. And that's why everyone was gathering there a few months later.
All right, so they planned this huge dedication ceremony. They invite all the bigwigs. But here's the crazy part. Abraham Lincoln, the President of the United States, was not supposed to be the main event, not even close.
The headliner, the rock star of the day, was a guy named Edward Everett. He was this famous orator, and he was scheduled to give a 2-hour speech. The president? He was basically an afterthought. The invitation asked him to give just a few appropriate remarks.
So just to get our bearings, the battle happens in early July. The whole summer is this grim cleanup. And then on November 19th, about 15,000 people show up on that very same ground for the dedication.
So Everett gets up, he talks for 2 hours, and then it's Lincoln's turn. He stands up, and in the next 2 minutes, he does something incredible. He doesn't just dedicate a cemetery, he completely reframes what the United States is all about. He opens with this line, we all know it, it sounds so formal and poetic, but what he's doing with these specific words is launching a brilliant political argument, and it would change the country forever. Let's break this down. Okay, here's the move. By saying 7 years ago, he's pointing back to 1776, the year of the Declaration of Independence. He's not pointing to 1787, when the Constitution was written. Now, why is that so important? Well, the entire argument of the Confederacy rested on the Constitution, which protected property, and to them that included enslaved people. Lincoln just completely sidesteps that whole debate. He says, no, our country was born from the idea in the Declaration that all men are created equal. And then he frames the entire war as a test. This isn't just about North versus South. It's about whether a nation founded on this radical idea of equality can even survive. He makes the fight about something much, much bigger. And his choice of words here is just genius. As Heather Cox Richardson points out, the Declaration calls equality a self-evident truth, but Lincoln calls it a proposition. What's the difference? A proposition is an idea that has to be proven. It's not a given. He's saying equality is something we have to fight for, to prove that it can work. And the Civil War, that was the ultimate test. And right here, he makes a hard pivot. The speech stops being about the past and about the dead. He turns to the crowd, to the living, and he gives them a job. He gives us a job. This line, this is the heart of it all. He's basically saying, our words don't matter much. We can't make this ground more holy than it already is. The soldiers did that with their blood. The real way to honor them, he says, is for the living to pick up their flag and finish the work they started. And he lays out exactly what that unfinished work is. He's challenging everyone listening to become more dedicated to the cause, to make sure these deaths weren't for nothing, and to fight for a new birth of freedom that will protect a government that is truly of the people, by the people, for the people. He turned a funeral speech into a national mission statement for all time. So, when Lincoln talked about that proposition of equality and the unfinished work, he wasn't just talking to the people there in 1863. He was talking across time to all of us, which really leaves us with the exact question he wanted us to ask. What is that unfinished work for us right here, right now?